Do you ever find yourself not getting your full asking price or earning what you're worth? Then this episode is for you.
You're listening to the Dynamic Women podcast. Each week, you'll be inspired by our global community of women. They'll share with you tools and stories to help you be dynamic in every area of life. He's your host, award-winning coach, and the CEO and founder of Dynamic Women, Diane Rolston.
Hello, lovely dynamic women, and welcome to the Dynamic Women podcast. I am Diane Rolston, your host, and today we're going to talk about how to earn what you're worth. Maybe you've had some moments where you felt like you had to renegotiate the money that you were being paid, or you were asked to work more than what was agreed upon without the extra earnings. Well, I'm going to talk about today the 4 things that you can do so that you could stop leaving money on the table because, we're not always getting paid what we're worth, or we lack the confidence to ask for it. So today I'm going to give you those 4 things so you can bring more money into your bottom line. When I was younger, my very first job was to be a newspaper carrier. And I was young. I was, 10 or something when you do this? And I realized looking back that I was so nervous around money. I guess I had a bad money story. My parents said to work hard and only buy what you need. And when it came time, I delivered the newspapers very well. I'm really good at that. But when it came time for me to go and collect the money from these adults, I felt bad. Even if there were kids, I felt bad. I felt bad asking for the money, even though I've earned it, even though I'm only getting so much money and it was mine and I earned it. I felt really bad and I felt nervous about asking for the money. And so sometimes when I would go, I wouldn't tell them the full amount. And even when they said, "You sure that seems low?" I'd be like, "Yeah, that's all it is." So I'd say it's $15 rather than $20 because some weeks I wouldn't go and I'd feel bad. And then it just became this complete cycle of not going and then undercutting. And anyway, I was reminded of this as I did a presentation this week about being a trailblazer and doing better around the money piece. And also clients this week have really been dealing with this whole issue of leaving money on the table. So I'm going to give you a few examples for ways that you can really be making sure that you're bringing in the money that you really deserve to be bringing in. One person the past couple of weeks made an extra $450 by just saying a couple of things and just doing a couple of things. That was pretty simple. And she was able to get more money and be less resentful, and not work as much. Okay, so let's talk about the first thing that you can do, and I'll, share examples and things. So the first thing that you can really do to make sure that you're getting the money that you need to be getting is know your rates. Know your rate. Know what it is that you charge. Know if it's $50 an hour, $100 an hour, $15 an hour, whatever it is. Know your rate. And if you're like, "But I don't know, it's different in different pieces," or this is something I've been working on with a bunch of my clients recently is, are you getting paid what other people in your industry at your level of expertise are getting paid? That's the first thing to really look at. So it's comparable, right? Look at what is comparable. What is the market average? What's your level of expertise? And also look at, and this is the key thing, look at what you want to be earning. That's really important. Know what you want to be earning for the lifestyle that you want to have. That's really important. And so once this person, my client, looked at what's the industry rate, wow, I'm actually not charging as much as other people. Then based on my expertise, what should I be charging? Ooh, I'm actually charging less than other people who have less experience than I do or less training than I do. So what did we do this week? Bump those fees up. And, the fear that can come is oh no, will people still pay that fee? Well, guess what? She had 3 people book right away at that higher fee. That's totally fine. So that first thing is know your rate. Now, why does it also matter to know your rate? When you know your rate, it's easier for you to tell people what your rate is. Yeah, because it's written down. It's these are my rates. And if you feel uncomfortable telling your rates, then have it in a price sheet or have it in something that you send over. If you aren't clear on your rates, how can your clients be clear on your rates, or how can they know what to pay you? And then you get in that really uncomfortable place of negotiating when you don't want to negotiate. And if you have a product like Epicure or like my client Go-Go bags, if you have a product, you have a specific price on that product because of the specific price that you had to pay for it. So if you're selling a book, or if you are selling soaps, whatever it may be, make sure you're sticking to that specific price, that your margin of profit is going to cover that. Because what I see is people with, and it may be Epicure, maybe some other product, what they're doing is they're taking like, oh, you get it like 3 for 10 or 5 for 20, or like this crazy deal maybe at a trade show, but they don't know their rates. They don't know what it's costing them. And then they don't know what they're making. And then the profit of margin maybe gets depleted because you're also paying for a vendor booth or whatever it may be. So key thing, number one, know your rate. The next thing, be clear on what's included. Be clear so that everybody knows, what do you get for that price? What is it that people can have? If you can't tell people exactly what they get, then they're going to be confused and they're going to take advantage of you. And there is a really strong possibility that they're going to ask for more than what you're giving. So a client of mine was at an event working, and she ended up spending an extra half hour there, and that wasn't included, right? That wasn't included. And in the past, she would have stayed lots of extra hours without being paid for it. But the problem is that brings resentment, and that brings that feeling of being used. And that's your time away from your life and your family and your passions, and you're not getting paid for it. So if maybe you were originally getting paid $100 an hour for 2 hours, that's $200. As soon as you tag on 2 more hours, you're only making $50 an hour. Like, is that okay for you? No, that's not okay. So you need to know exactly what is included. I'll tell you what this client was able to do. Because she was able to know what was included, be clear with the client about what was included, she could be generous and give an extra half hour. But when the client was like, no, I need you to stay another hour, she said, great, my hourly rate is $200. The client paused for a moment. Client knew how many hours she got. The client knew what the rate was for those 2 hours. And so she turned around, grabbed some cash, and handed her $200 cash. Amazing. So with what my client did from that first step, she has now gained a few hundred extra dollars by raising her rates. In this case, by knowing what's included, this client earned an extra $200 that she wouldn't have earned before. Sounding good, eh? I'm going to give you 2 more ways that you can earn more money. And so let me just say, with the second one, be clear on what's included. This also goes for those who are selling products. You have to be very clear, especially if you're trying to put together, let's say, a cooking class with Epicure, because I have Epicure people listening. You put together this cooking class, and maybe it's at the host's house. And then at the cooking class, they think that all the food's included, and they get to keep all of the jars of the foods, all of the spices that you opened. And you're like, no, that's not included. Or that you're going to bring the wine for everybody. You have to be very clear about what the host does and what you do, so that you're not losing money by putting out all of this money for all these things you shouldn't be putting in it for. Make sense? Good. Now that I've given you 2 of the ways that you can bring more money into your business, or at least keep more of it when you're speaking with clients and customers, I really wanted to share one of our latest podcast reviews. So what I'm going to start doing is reading the reviews during the podcast to really give a shout out to you, our listeners. And if you want to give a review, you can just find it in the show notes. So from Grelin Girl, aka Linda Hunt, her 5-star review says, always engaging. Diane always has engaging guests. Her topics are always relevant for women business leaders. Thank you so much, Linda, and stay tuned. We're going to be sending you a special surprise into your mailbox. Let me talk about the number 3 way, the third way that you can make some more money and not leave money on the table. So here it is. Share with your clients in advance and your customers about add-ons. Share about add-ons. So I have a client who, would be very kind, and somebody would want oh, can I have a recording of that? Or can I have that on USB or whatever? And so in the past, she'd say, sure. And she would just buy the USB and put it on and ship it to them. I've also had clients that were like, their customers said to them, hey, can you, instead of going to like this location that's near you, can you come to this location that's near me? Or can you come to my house rather than me coming to your office? Well, that's travel time, right? And so I had clients saying, sure, I'll drive a half hour both ways to come and serve you. And hey, if you want to do that, that's great. But that's an add-on. Travel time is an add-on. Sending a product that's not part of the package, that's an add-on. So if you have a sheet of add-ons, it's very clear to your client or your customer what is included and what's not. But if they want to add on things, they can. So the client this week said, hey, happy to send you a USB with that information, and that'll be $50 extra. Awesome. She made $50. Isn't that wonderful? And the client who said, hey, I actually am working in my office and you can come to me and it's an extra so many dollars for me to travel to you, right? If she's traveling to them, it's an extra $100. If they come to her, they don't have to pay that. So it can be a win-win. And if she does need to travel and use that hour, she now gets the money for that time that she's traveling. In your business, you need a system and a process put in place for when you do give gifts and what the value of the gift is. And this is the same for referrals. This is the same for compensation plans. This is the same if you have a team and you want to reward people. You have to be consistent and you have to pre-think ahead. It's like future thinking. You have to think ahead of like, if I do these steps and when they get to this point, this point, this point, this point, right? Reverse engineer that. You don't want to be like at this point, you need to hand someone $1,000 because in the beginning you handed them $100, right? Yes, exactly. Okay. And do you guys want number 4? Do you want me to go through number 4? Has this been helpful hearing about this? I'm just seeing this in clients. Like the one client was able to make another $450. The other client in just those 3 bookings has probably made another $300. That other client got handed $200 cash. All these little things, you keep doing this week after week after week, that's an extra $1,000 to $5,000 easily. Okay, this one might make you laugh and I will have to swear if I have your permission, or I can just let you fill in the blank. So this one is called Say No to Pitas. Say No to Pitas. You know those people that are like, hey, can I have that package you offered? Or can I have that thing that you have? But I'd also like XYZ. And can I also do this, this, and this? And can I pay you less for that? And you need to email me about that a billion times. These are pitas. They will over negotiate with you. They will not pay your worth. They will be someone who demands more of you. They are people who are a pain in the ass. Pain in the ass. They are. And you'll see it right from the beginning. You're like, oh no, this person's a pain in the ass, right? You start to have that feeling because they're difficult to deal with. So if you want to call them people who are difficult to deal with, then go ahead. They often do not pay your worth. They take more of your time than your amazing clients, right? I've got some amazing clients. I've got some people that are listening right now that I know, Jen Greenwood, Jackie Rougeau has been mentioned. These are 2 women who are amazing clients because they're like, here's my session. This is when my session is. Here's the payment, right? And we get to focus our time. This is the key thing. We get to focus all of our time on coaching them towards their goals and coaching them to be like the most amazing, fearless leaders rather than spend time talking about where's your payment or talking about paying me less or, right? There's that mutual level of respect that happens. So really what you have to decide is what am I okay with and what I'm not okay with? Because if you continue to work with pitas, they will drain you of your time and they'll drain your bank account, right? Because they're always wanting more and demanding more and demanding more. Now, I'm not saying you cannot discount your services. I'm not saying that you can't, in certain circumstances, really be generous with people who you know are struggling financially. Now, this is not necessarily with a product-based business. You might drop your margins a little bit on a wholesale or for like more when you know your profit margins. But for services, like I have a couple of spots in my business for sponsorship spots. And I've used that for, one woman who was a single mom and hadn't received child support in years. and was doing such amazing humanitarian work, philanthropic work. And I really wanted to be able to support her in coaching, but she just couldn't afford it. It allows me to do that because I'm saying no to the people that are just a problem to deal with. So this happened with a client. I'm so proud of her. So proud. Gets this last minute call, like 10:30 at night, gets this message from this woman saying, hey, can you come and work this event tomorrow? And she doesn't really want to reply, but it was tomorrow. And so she's like, oh, well, what's the event? And, it's this type of event, this many hours, like no biggie. And okay, my rate for that is, because she knows her rates, right? My client knows her rates. She knows her value. This is my rate for that type of event with that many hours. Okay. You know what the PITA says? Oh, well, what could you do for me? They don't have any relationship at all. What's the best you can do for me? My rate is this. So she said, oh, I wanted to pay. So rather than, let's say, the rate of $350 an hour, she wanted to pay $150 an hour. And so, my client did the math and said, okay, I can offer it to you for this. And so she, gave her a little bit of a deal. And the person came back and said, no, I wanted to pay this X amount of dollars. Guess how much different it was? She wanted to pay $450 and my client offered her $500. And guess what she said? Oh no, I'm going to go find someone else cheaper. Find someone else cheaper at 11 o'clock at night before the next day. Wow. My client knew her value, knew her rates. She was very clear about what was included and what was not included. And she was sharing that, and if you want that, it'll be X amount of dollars. And you know what she said to this woman who wanted to, she was able to say no, this is my rate. This is the best I can do for you. I'm not going to that rate. And you know how she felt after? She felt amazing because she was like, that was a Saturday and I wanted to spend it with my family. I didn't really want to go do an event, but for the right price, she would have gone to an event. So the funny thing is sometimes I get PITAs and I know that they mean well and they're good people or whatever. And I maybe want to work with them. And so guess what? There's PITA tax. There is an inflated price sometimes for PITAs because I know they will take more of my time, more of my team's time to really help them. And it's in that place. Here's bonus number 5, set super strong boundaries, really strong boundaries, have really strong contracts in place and make sure that your contracts and everything you have is super clear so that no one is going to take your service or your product from you, demand a refund when really they completely used it or when they haven't implemented things properly. So just cover your back because I've also had that happen with clients. People wanting refunds when the work was already done or people refusing to pay. So actually, let me give you a bonus. Do you want a double bonus? Double bonus is get paid in advance as much as you can. I love that my clients pay me in advance. The benefit of that is that we don't talk about this, the financial piece. We just get right down to business. And they're all in and I'm all in and we just do the greatest work together in this situation. I know so many people who in their company, they bill afterwards and they're waiting and they're waiting and they're waiting. And then you're spending time and energy reminding people to pay them. And that's not what we want to be using our time and energy for. We want to be using it on the core competencies that we have, on the actual income generating work that we do. And just to give a shout out as well, the PITA terminology is from a coach that I have been working with. I have a bunch of different coaches. Why many? Not because I suck at a bunch of stuff, but because I want to excel in all these different areas. And so one of my coaches, James Malinchak, who helps me to really build my speaking business, he has that term, and I don't know if he got it from somewhere else. It pains me when I see someone be usually bakers, they'll be online, they'll be like, who wants this cake? Who wants these cupcakes? Who wants these cookies or these cake pops? And you can tell they've been painstakingly made beautifully in a very specific theme or something. And they put, there's maybe selling it for half price or something. Because there was a no-show. Someone just didn't show and pick it up. Someone just didn't have the courtesy to just, even at the very least, I'd be like, I'm sorry, I can't make it, but I'm still pay you for it. Right. But people are like that. So cover your butts. Right. And let's go back through the 4 and you tell me which was the most helpful for you and which one are you going to implement. And then I'm going to tell you how you can get more of these really great wealth tips or sales tips or whatever you want to call them. Know your rates, right? See the comparables, know what's in there, know the experience and the amount of years that you've been doing it so that you know what you want to charge, and also be thinking about, what do I want to earn? Right? What do I want to earn? Second, be very clear about what's included in what you offer. And if something's not included, then make sure you share it. So number 3, share it as an add-on. Have a list of add-on sheets so that if someone does say, will you travel to my place? Then you're like, sure, that's $50 for me to do that, or whatever it may be. And then number 4, say no to PITAs. People who are trouble for you, people who cause you so much extra work. Just say no to them, because trust me, you'll start attracting more people who are the diamond, golden, amazing clients like those who are listening today. And there are times when people can't pay my full fee, like an organization. And I have all of these creative ways where we can actually make my fee up. This other time I was only going to get like 3/4 of my professional speaking fee. And I was able to do 2 other methods where I not only got an additional $2,000, but I got another $1,000 plus a bunch of potential clients. So it's possible. Now, if you want to learn from me more ways to increase your inner and outer wealth, then I really encourage you to join the $1 Million Woman program. We just opened doors last week to it again. And the really great thing is, when you do increase your inner and outer wealth, that's when you're able to have more success and obviously more wealth, but also more happiness, because you're going to be able to put the money into the things that you want to put the money into. Now, with the $1 Million Woman program, I get to be super generous with what I'm giving. So please just go to that page. You're going to see everything that's included. The $1 Million Woman program is 2 days that we get to spend together online because of COVID. And we're going to be able to really go through a whole bunch of different ways of like how I've had multiple streams of income, all the different ways you can increase your outer wealth, but not just that, how you can increase your inner wealth. Because the thing is, when you increase your inner wealth for free, you increase your inner wealth, you can actually use that to create more outer wealth, which I'm sure is what you want. But sometimes you don't have the outer wealth. And so the inner wealth is really what moves you forward. Also, a bunch of confidence boosting strategies. I'm also going to talk about how you can delegate so that you can be focused on like income generating activities rather than all the like smaller things, and how you can do that like 50% of what you thought it would be. There's so much more. Anyway, if you just want to go to the link that I'm going to pop in here, actually, I'll just tell you it as well. So it's dynamicwomen.biz/MDW for $1 Million Woman. And the cool thing is there's like 20 grand worth of bonuses in there, including being in my next book. So please go check that out. Doors are open, and we're probably open for the next week or so. But the first 7 people that go on there from this, who went on from this time, right? The first 7 that go on from this moment, because I did a talk today, and there's the opportunity for 7 people to also get a 2-day mastermind with me and with a bunch of other women. Now, why would you care for that? Well, you get to come to a mastermind and you get to have me thinking for you, maybe writing things for you, sharing things with you. And my clients will tell you that I go like behind the scenes. I share the exact things I do, the templates I use. I give you everything that you need. Thank you so much for listening today. On this podcast, I really want to bring you different topics that I feel are just so pertinent to business women, business leaders, and a lot of the different information that I pull from is from coaching sessions with my clients, because it's things that I'm seeing right now and what is going on in my community. So if you have a topic that you'd like me to cover, please reach out, Diane@DianeRolston.com. Make sure that you hit subscribe. I got some really good interviews that you do not want to miss over the next couple months with amazing dynamic women, as well as some great content that I am bringing forward. So hit subscribe, write a review, share with a friend, do all of the above. And until next time, stay dynamic. Bye.
Thank you, Dynamic Women for joining us today. Please hop on over to iTunes to subscribe and leave us a review. Who do you know who needs to hear our message? We'd love it if you'd share our channel with your friends and family. If you're ready to be more dynamic, have more balance and more success, head over to www.dynamicwomenclub.com/free gift for your Key to Success book. Stay dynamic.